Welcome to today's lecture on patriarchy, gender roles, and the transformation of family. Specifically, we will be exploring how traditional family structures in the U.S. have been shaped by patriarchal norms and how contemporary family forms are challenging and reshaping these norms. Today, I am recording my video from my home, and I just wanted to share with you how wonderful it is to have a pond, although the frog can be a bit loud during this lecture. But in particular, I'm excited because my spider lilies are blooming and my white pitcher plants are blooming in the bog of my pond. Marriage was once a nearly universal and key marker of adulthood. Historically, the traditional patriarchal family in the United States was structured around a clear gender hierarchy. Men were positioned as breadwinners and heads of households, while women were expected to be homemakers and caregivers. This division of labor was not just practical, it was ideological, reinforcing the belief that men and women had inherently different roles and capabilities. Historically, a spinster was a term used to describe an unmarried woman, typically one who was past the conventional age for marriage. This label carried strong social stigma, implying that the woman was undesirable, lonely, and had failed to fulfill her expected role as a wife and mother. Rather than being seen as independent, spinsters were often pitied or mocked, reinforcing narrow gender norms around marriage and womanhood. Your first quiz question of the day is, which of the following best describes the traditional patriarchal family model in the United States? Arlie Hochschild, a prominent sociologist, introduced the concept of the second shift in her book. This term refers to the unpaid domestic labor, such as cooking, cleaning, and childcare, that many women perform after returning home from their paid employment. While both partners may work full-time jobs, women often take on disproportionate share of household responsibilities, effectively working a second shift at home. This concept is crucial for understanding how gender inequality persists even in households that appear egalitarian on the surface. Hochschild's research revealed that this imbalance contributes to emotional strain, relationship conflict, and burnout among women. It also underscores how traditional gender roles are reproduced in modern family settings, despite broader societal shifts toward gender equality. The second shift remains highly relevant today, especially as we examine new family forms like dual income households, single parent families, and cohabiting partners. Even in the so-called progressive relationships, the division of labor often reflects entrenched gender norms. Understanding this second shift will help you understand and critically analyze how domestic labor is valued or possibly devalued, and how it shapes power dynamics within families. Your second question today is, according to Arlie Hochschild, what is the second shift? To understand how the nuclear family historically reinforced patriarchal norms, let's look at the example of shotgun marriages. A shotgun marriage refers to a union that happens quickly, often in response to an unplanned pregnancy, under social or familial pressure. The term evokes the images of disapproving father, metaphorically holding a shotgun, compelling the couple to marry. This wasn't just about love or timing, it was about restoring social order and protecting family honor, especially the woman's reputation. In the mid-20th century America, premarital sex and out-of-wedlock births were heavily stigmatized. For women, marriage was seen as the only acceptable path forward, as it legitimized the pregnancy and aligned with rigid gender roles, as women became wives and mothers and men became providers. Men, too, faced pressure, often expected to do the right thing by marrying and supporting the child. While the social consequences for men were generally less severe, they could still face reputational damage or be forced into an early economic responsibility, sometimes abandoning education or career plans. When sociologists study phenomena like shotgun marriages, we don't just ask what happened, we ask why, how, and under what conditions. This table illustrates how a single event, the shotgun marriage, can be understood through multiple thematic lenses, such as normative life courses, stigma, class, and gender ideologies. Each of these themes points to a different mechanism that historically compelled shotgun marriages. For example, the expectation of marriage before childbirth reflects a normative life course model. What's powerful is how these mechanisms shift under the second demographic transition. Today in class, we will be examining and creating our own slides, our own tables, following this pattern, looking at new family formations. We're seeing a steady decline in marriage rates. In the US, people are marrying later or not at all. In the 1950s, the average age of first marriage was about early 20s. Today, it's closer to 30. This shift reflects changing priorities. Marriage is no longer seen as a gateway to adulthood. Instead, it has become a capstone, something people pursue after achieving stability. So when we talk about declining marriage rates, we're not just talking about numbers. We're seeing a broader transformation on how people define adulthood, commitment, and success. As marriage rates decline, we're also seeing a major shift in how people form families. One of the most significant changes under the second demographic transition is the decoupling of marriage, cohabitation, and childbearing. Cohabitation was once rare and socially stigmatized, but it has become increasingly normalized. In the 1960s, very few couples lived together before marriage. Today, it is the norm. Most married couples in the United States now cohabit first, and many others choose to live together indefinitely without marrying at all. This shift reflects broader cultural changes. Cohabitation offers flexibility and autonomy. It allows couples to share their lives, raise children, and build households without the legal or social expectations tied to marriage. For many, it's a way to test compatibility or avoid the financial, legal complications that marriage can bring. We're also seeing a redefinition of parenthood. Having children outside of marriage is no longer seen as deviant or unusual. Instead, it's part of a broader trend toward personal choice and diverse family forms. Cohabitation without marriage is not just a stepping stone, it is now a destination. And it tells us a lot about the ideas of commitment, adulthood, and family, and how they continue to evolve in modern society. Another major shift we see under the second demographic transition is the rise of solo living. Nearly 30% of U.S. households consist of just one person, a dramatic increase from the mid-20th century norms. This trend emphasizes the importance of autonomy, self-fulfillment, and the loosening of traditional family expectations. Living alone is no longer seen as unusual or lonely. It's often a deliberate choice, especially among those who value independence and have the financial means to support it. Living apart together are committed couples who choose not to live together. Unlike casual dating, these partners often see the relationship as long-term, just without cohabitation nor marriage. These relationships reflect postmodern intimacy where emotional closeness does not require shared residence or legal ties. This challenges the ideas that cohabitation replaces marriage. In fact, some LAT couples reject both. LAT also complicates how we measure relationships. In census data, for example, these individuals may appear single even though they're living in committed partnerships. This blurs traditional category and challenges how we define family and household structures. LAT is not just a quirky exception, it's a sign of how flexible and individualized modern relationships have become. It reminds us that commitment today can take many forms, not all of which fit neatly into our old demographic boxes. While the second demographic transition emphasizes independence and delayed family formation, not all young adults are living solo or with partners. A growing number are returning to live and work with their parents, a trend often referred to as boomerang living. These are young adults who, after a period of independence, like college or early work, move back home due to job loss, student debt, or high housing costs. Today, multi-generational households are more common than we might expect in a post-industrial society. This trend complicates the SDT narrative. Yes, young people are delaying marriage and childbearing to pursue education and careers, but economic insecurity often forces them to rely on family support longer than previous generations. Living at home, once stigmatized, is now increasingly normalized and even strategic. Which of the following family forms most directly challenges the idea that adulthood requires marriage? See you in class.